Today, my friends, we are taking a look at a blast from my past, so stay tuned. What's up, my fellow nerds and geeks of YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Stuff with Nate G. And in this video, we are taking a look at the very first comic book that I have ever owned that got me into the hobby of collecting comics. And in honor of the release of a new Superman movie in a couple months, I figured we would take a look at not only the very first comic book that I've ever had, but also the very first Superman comic book I've ever had. DC Comics, the New 52 Futures End, Superman Action Comics #1. Now, I realize that's a bit of a mouthful, but one thing to quickly note before I flip the camera around to show a little above review of the comic. This came out in the decade when the New 52 era was the current era of comics, and I'm still trying to figure out how to explain this, to be honest with you. Hold on one second. So, starting in 2011, the New 52 age or New 52 era of comics was a modernization of DC and all of their comic book characters. That entailed a cancellation of all their continual monthly comics from before that, and in 2011 starting a new 52, pun intended, era of comics, which obviously modernized the story, the art, and the characters of DC Universe. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this around so we can get a better look at the very first Superman comic and also the very first comic book that I have ever owned. So give me 1 second, guys. Alright, so we will go ahead and get this comic out of the bag and board. Let me raise this up first. Alright. And when I got this, I had to repurchase this comic because last year, for no reason at all, I sold my comic book collection, which I've had almost 300 comic books, and this was the one that I regret selling the most because it was my very first one, and it has this weird laminated texture on the front of it, and the original copy I had did not have this 3D art to it. I will post a picture right here of the original artwork, but yeah, this was not the original comic book cover per se that I had. Now, looking up here at the #1 where it says DC Comics #1 one shot, it means the entire story is comprised in this comic book. So, looking at the story of this comic, it starts out in Ethiopia 5 years from now, during the time of release for this comic. It starts out with Ethiopia, where Clark Kent is trying to introduce new vegetation to the land where there is hardly any rain whatsoever. And it pans over to somewhere else, I'm not sure exactly, to a woman not wanting to live with her mistakes anymore, so she decides to jump off the other side of the building. Why, I have no idea. And then all of a sudden she realizes that she has the ability to fly, which is rather odd. And then it pans to another location where these guys have this one dude cornered in an alley where he's getting beat up, and then all of a sudden he gains super strength and is able to fight off those that are beating the shit out of him in that alleyway. And he wants to use his newfound super strength to get what he believes belongs to him. And then we pan somewhere else to a boy witnessing his parents in an argument, and boy decides to step in front of his mother to protect her, and his dad proceeds to slap him, which doesn't bother him at all. And then he grabs a cane and hits him with that, also doesn't do anything. Calling his son a freak, he leaves. And then we got a bit of a advertisement for the city, well, for the show Gotham, which I have not seen yet. I haven't been able to watch it because I keep forgetting about it. And then we pan back over to this guy deciding what that he wanted to use his newfound strength to break into his supposed loner's building to get money that he believes he deserves. And then a sandy apparition appearing to be Superman appears to tell him that his time using super strength was up. And then it pans back to the boy and his mother to tell him that his time with the superpower that he had was over. And then it pans to a woman who had the same woman at the beginning of the story, who had the ability to fly, but her time was up with that ability. Then it pans back over to Superman, well, Clark, who stopped using his powers so that the government wouldn't use them. And he begins talking to this sandy apparition, taking on his appearance to remind him that his gifts were meant to help the people of Earth when he came there. This sandy apparition then flies up into the sky, shining brightly like the sun close to the Earth, bringing vegetation to Ethiopia. After all these years of him trying to plant vegetation, he was finally able to. Honestly, I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to this comic book, the story I get from it is use your gifts, use your traits to help those in need and be a shining example of good in the world. No matter how hard things get, no matter how bleak anyone's life can be, as long as we are all willing to try, we can make the world a better place. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys in this video. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. I had a good time making this video, and honestly, I know it could use some work, and hey, I'm still learning along the way. But if you guys are willing to join me, I would love to have you here as we build a peaceful and friendly community of nerds and geeks who all care about the same passion of pop culture. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Again, I would love to have you here. And guys, let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and tell me if you've ever collected comic books, what was your favorite comic book and what was your first comic book? Anyway guys, until next time, my friends, till all are one, and may the force be with you always. Bye for now, guys.